I want to start today by asking you to do something just a little bit strange.
Okay, I'm ready.
I want you to picture the last text message you sent. Like, really visualize it in your mind.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was probably something like, on my way, or just the letter K, or maybe even just the thumbs up emoji.
Yeah, probably thumbs up.
Right, and it took you, 2 seconds to type, and the person who received it probably glanced at it for half a second.
If that.
Exactly. Now, I want you to compare that to the feeling of walking up to your physical mailbox. You open the little metal door, and you see a handwritten envelope in there with an actual stamp on it.
Oh, I love that feeling.
You grab it, you tear it open, and you see a date, a greeting, and 3 whole pages of ink.
It is a completely different neurological event, isn't it?
Yeah.
It actually lights up a totally different part of the brain.
It really does, and that is exactly what we are unpacking today. We aren't just talking about how to write a letter in the, boring textbook sense. We are digging into the lost art of the informal letter.
Right.
And specifically, we're doing this for our listeners who are learning English. We are basing this deep dive on a really comprehensive breakdown from the Mr. English channel.
Which is a fantastic resource.
It really is, because it bridges that gap between rigid grammar and actual human connection.
Connection really is the key word here.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the source material, what stands out is that even though it's an informal letter, it isn't structureless.
Right.
That is a huge misconception. People think informal just means messy. But if you just kind of stream of consciousness ramble for 2 whole pages...
It's exhausting to read.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work for the reader.
Yeah, there's a massive difference between being casual and just being incoherent.
Exactly.
The source material outlines a really specific framework to hit that sweet spot, where you sound relaxed, you sound cool, but you also communicate clearly.
And for our listeners who are learning English, this is actually a pretty high-stakes game.
Yeah.
You want to sound natural, right? You don't want to sound like a robot.
Right, nobody wants that.
But you also don't want to make mistakes that confuse your friend. So today we're going to break down the tone, the structure, what the source actually calls the Big Five.
The Big Five, yeah.
And specifically, how to stop staring at a blank page and actually start writing.
But before we get into the how, let's talk about the why.
Sure.
In this age of WhatsApp, Instagram DMs, voice notes, all of that, why does the Mr. English channel argue we should still be writing letters? Is it just nostalgia?
It's definitely more than nostalgia. It really comes down to permanence.
To permanence.
Yeah, digital communication is ephemeral. It's literally designed to disappear. A letter is a physical object. The source makes this great point about what I like to call the shoebox factor.
Shoebox factor. Okay, I love that. Tell me more.
Think about it. You don't print out your WhatsApp screenshots and put them in a shoebox in the attic to rediscover in 20 years.
No, you definitely don't. That would be weird.
But you put letters there. A letter is a time capsule. When you write one, you are creating a physical artifact of your friendship.
It signals effort, too. Like sending a text takes 0 calories.
Right.
Writing a letter says, I value you enough to buy a stamp, find a pen that actually works, sit down, and focus on you for 30 minutes.
Precisely. That buys you a lot of goodwill before the reader even reads the first word. It validates the relationship in a way a screen never can.
So let's get into the mechanics. The source mentions the Big Five.
Yes.
Now, this sounds like a psychological profile, but in this context, it's the structural skeleton of the letter. What exactly are we looking at here?
It's essentially a mental checklist to ensure you haven't just written a diary entry and accidentally mailed it to someone.
Right.
The Big Five are the heading, the salutation, the body, the closing, and the signature.
Okay, let's start at the top. The heading.
Mm-hmm.
This seems trivial, but I feel like I always mess it up. Like, in a formal business letter, this is a nightmare of formatting. Addresses on the left, addresses on the right.
Oh, it's so stressful.
For a friend, do we really need to include our full address?
The source offers a really practical nuance here. Traditionally, yes, you would put your address in the top right.
Sure.
But in modern informal writing, if you're writing to a close friend, you can usually just skip the address.
That's a relief.
Yeah, they likely have it stored in their phone anyway, or it's literally written on the back of the envelope.
It can feel a little stiff to put your full street address at the top for your best friend.
It feels like I'm sending them an invoice. Like, please remit payment to the address above.
Exactly. It sets the wrong tone right out of the gate. However, the expert advice is absolutely non-negotiable on one thing.
What's that?
The date. You must never, ever skip the date.
Why is the date so critical?
Think back to that shoebox factor we talked about.
Oh, right.
The date anchors the letter in history. If you find a letter from 10 years ago, the first thing your eyes look for is the date.
That's true. I always check the year first.
It gives the reader context for your emotions. It tells them who you were when you wrote it. Without a date, the letter is just sort of floating in a void. That is a great way to put it. It transforms the paper into a historical document. Okay, so moving down the page. The salutation.
Hello. This is where the tone is set immediately. And this is honestly where English learners often get stuck.
Because they overthink the word dear.
Yes, exactly.
Dear is weird, right? I mean, we use it for a grandmother, like dear grandma, but we also use it for the tax collector. Dear Internal Revenue Service. It feels so contradictory.
It is one of those funny quirks of English. Dear is incredibly flexible. The source confirms that dear and then their name is still the gold standard.
Okay.
It's safe, it's warm, and it's grammatically correct. But if you want to sound a bit more contemporary, or if dear feels too stuffy for this specific friend, the source suggests loosening up.
Like just saying hi.
Yes. Hi, Sarah, or hey, Alex, are perfectly acceptable in an informal letter. But here is the pro tip from the material that I think is absolutely brilliant.
Hit me.
Use nicknames. This is a massive hack for intimacy.
Explain that. How does a nickname change the reading experience?
Well, if you call your friend Chief or Captain or Liz in real life, do not write Dear Elizabeth on the paper.
Oh, right. It creates immediate psychological distance.
It sounds like she's in trouble.
It sounds like her mother is calling her by her full legal name because she didn't clean her room. Elizabeth.
Precisely. Writing Hey Liz, or even Dearest Liz, replicates the intimacy of your actual friendship. It tells the reader, I know you. I am comfortable with you.
Dearest is interesting. That feels very Jane Austen to me. Dearest Mr. Darcy.
It is a bit old school, sure, but for family or a romantic partner, it carries a lot of emotional weight.
Yes.
It's very affectionate. But again, read the room. Don't use dearest for a casual acquaintance you met once at a conference. That gets creepy fast.
Yeah, that would be super awkward. So we have the date for history, we have Hey Captain for intimacy, and now we hit the wall.
The blank page.
The cursor is blinking, or I guess since we're writing by hand, the pen is hovering over the paper. The source calls this breaking the ice. Why is this part so uniquely hard?
It's hard because the transition from silence to conversation is awkward.
Sure.
You can't just launch into I bought a lizard yesterday without saying hello first.
That would be alarming.
All right, you need a bridge.
Yeah.
You need to acknowledge the connection between the two of you first.
The default here for a lot of learners is just, how are you? Which, let's be honest, is boring.
It's filler.
It's the packing peanuts of conversation.
It's vanilla. It's fine. It does the job, but it doesn't add any value. The source provides some excellent alternatives that elevate your English level instantly and make you sound much more fluent.
Give us the highlights reel. What are the high-impact openers we should be using?
If you want to be safe but polite, you can use, I hope this letter finds you well. Classic. It's a classic for a reason. It works. But if you want some energy, try. It's been way too long since we last spoke.
I like that one because it acknowledges the gap in time. It subtly says, I miss you.
Exactly. And my absolute favorite one from the source, which is very idiomatic, is I was just thinking about you the other day and decided to drop you a line.
Drop you a line. Let's pause on that idiom for the learners listening.
It's a great phrase. It likely comes from fishing or naval terminology, lowering a line into the water.
Right.
In this context, it means sending a casual, brief message. It implies low pressure.
Like, I didn't labor over this for hours, I just wanted to say hi.
Exactly. It makes the recipient feel special without feeling burdened to write a novel back to you.
That's super helpful. But what if we are replying? Like if they wrote to us first?
Then the rules change completely. The first sentence must be an acknowledgement.
Okay.
You have to say, thanks so much for your last letter. You have to validate that you received their effort before you start talking about yourself. If you don't, it's just rude.
It's basic conversational etiquette applied to paper.
It is. It's a tone check. If you start with business or bad news immediately, it's jarring. You have to virtually hug them first.
Okay, we've hugged. The ice is broken. Now we get to the body. The meat of the sandwich.
There we go.
And this is where I think English learners, and honestly native speakers too, kind of fall apart.
Oh, absolutely.
They either write 3 sentences and just stop, or they write a novel that is just a giant wall of text.
The wall of text is the enemy. It is visually intimidating. The source suggests a very specific structural approach to solve this, and I love it. It's called the 3-paragraph method.
I love a good framework. Break it down for us.
It's designed to mimic a balanced conversation. Paragraph 1 is your big news.
Okay.
This is the update. The new job, the trip you took, a life event.
So this is the me section.
Yes, but keep it concise. Because paragraph 2 flips the script entirely. Paragraph 2 is questions for them.
Oh, that's crucial.
The expert emphasizes that a letter is a two-way street.
I've received letters where the person talks about themselves for 4 pages straight. It doesn't feel like a letter. It feels like a manifesto.
It feels narcissistic. You have to engage. You have to ask, how is that project going? Or, did you ever visit your sister? Or, how's the new puppy?
Showing you remember things.
Yes. It shows you remember details from their life. It proves you were actually listening the last time you interacted.
And what about paragraph 3?
Paragraph 3 is the bridge. It's the shared memory or future plan.
Like, remember that time we got lost in London?
Exactly. Or, I really hope we can meet up next summer.
That is such a satisfying narrative arc. Past, present, future. Me, you, us.
Me, you, us. That is a perfect way to summarize it. If you hit those 3 notes, the letter will feel totally complete.
Now, structurally, moving between these paragraphs can be clunky. We can't just jump from I got a dog to how's your mother. We need transition signals.
Right. In a face-to-face conversation, we do this with tone or body language. On paper, we need specific phrases.
Give us some examples.
The source offers some great pivot phrases. The ultimate one is, anyway, enough about me. How have you been?
That is arguably the best pivot in the English language.
It really is. It does 2 things. It signals a topic change, and it demonstrates self-awareness. It admits, I know I've been talking a lot.
What about other pivots?
Speaking of is very useful if there's a loose connection between topics. Or, simply, but I'm curious about what's new with you.
Simple and effective. Now, I want to touch on something the source calls the robot warning.
Oh boy, yes.
This is a huge trap for learners who are trying to impress their friends with their English skills.
The thesaurus trap. I see this all the time.
Right. Students think formal words automatically equal good English. So they write to their friend, I am writing to inform you that I have commenced a new occupation.
It sounds like a subpoena. Or a letter from the bank.
Yeah.
The source is very, very firm on this. Write like you speak.
Write like you speak.
Yes. Informal writing requires informal vocabulary.
So using high-level academic vocabulary is actually a mistake here.
In this context, yes. It creates distance between you and the reader. Do not use commence. Use start.
Whoa.
Do not use inform. Use tell. And grammatically, you really must use contractions.
Explain that for the listeners. Why are contractions so important for the tone?
It's the difference between I am and I'm, do not versus don't. Formal English separates the words. Informal English blends them together. If you write, I do not know when I will arrive, you sound like a robot or a Victorian ghost.
The Victorian ghost.
But if you write, I don't know when I'll be there, you sound like a normal friend.
It's about rhythm.
It is rhythm and flow. The source gave a hilarious example of what not to do. Someone wrote, I am very pleased to inform you of my advancement.
That sounds like a rejection letter from a university. We are pleased to inform you.
It does, the informal version. I'm over the moon about my promotion.
Over the moon. I love that idiom.
It conveys emotion. I am pleased conveys pure data. We want emotion in a letter. Using idioms like over the moon or tie the knot or under the weather signals that you are comfortable with the language. It makes you sound naturally fluent.
So the takeaway there is simple words, contractions, and idioms. Don't try to sound smart. Try to sound real.
Authenticity beats complexity every single time in letter writing.
Okay, we have navigated the body. We've done the me, you, us. Now we need to exit. And just like walking out of a party, you can't just vanish.
No, you can't.
You need a closing statement.
The Irish goodbye does not work in letters. You need to visibly signal the end. And to be clear, this isn't the signature yet. This is the pre-signature.
It's saying, I can't wait to hear from you.
Exactly. Or, give my love to your family. Let's catch up soon.
It frames the letter as part of an ongoing conversation, not a final statement.
Right. It leaves the door open for them to reply.
And then the sign-off. I feel like this is a minefield. Sincerely is the default we all learn in school, but...
Burn sincerely. Just delete it from your brain for informal letters.
Isn't that bad?
Sincerely is for cover letters and complaints to the electric company. If you sign a letter to your friend with Kulth, sincerely, it feels incredibly cold. It actually feels like you're mad at them.
Wow. Okay, so what are the safe zones?
Best is the safest. It's short for best regards, but truncated, so it's casual. Take care is lovely. It shows genuine concern. All the best is solid, too.
What about love? I feel like that varies a lot by culture.
Huge cultural variance there. In the U.S., love is strictly reserved for family, romantic partners, and very, very close friends.
Right.
In some other cultures, it's used much more loosely. But the source mentions a really great option for that middle ground, which is cheers.
Cheers is very British or Australian, isn't it?
It is, but it's really being adopted globally now. It's breezy, it's friendly, without being mushy. It's sort of the linguistic equivalent of a high five.
I like that.
Yeah, if love feels way too strong and best feels a little too businesslike, cheers is a perfect option.
Now, before we seal the envelope, we have to talk about my favorite part, the PS.
The postscript. From the Latin postscriptum, meaning written after.
Originally, this was a technology fix, right? You're writing with ink, you finish, you realize you forgot to mention Aunt Mary, you can't hit backspace, so PS.
Right, it was literally an error correction tool. But today, we can edit. We can rewrite the page or draft it first. So why do we keep it?
Yeah, why do we?
The source argues it's a stylistic choice now. It adds a layer of spontaneity to the whole thing.
It feels like a whisper at the door just as you're leaving.
That's a beautiful image. It's the Columbo moment, just one more thing. It is often the most read part of the entire letter because it stands out visually right at the bottom of the page.
The source suggests using it for humor, actually.
Yes. The body of the letter might be kind of serious, but the PS can be. PS, I still can't believe you ate that entire pizza.
Huh.
It ends the interaction on a high note, a smile. It creates intimacy because it's usually an inside joke.
So if we look at this holistically, we've built a really solid structure. Date for history, greeting for warmth, opening as an icebreaker, body for an exchange of news, closing to wrap up, sign off for personality. And the PS is the cherry on top.
It's a formula, sure, but it's a formula that allows for total freedom within those walls.
And what's the golden rule from the source? Like, if the listener takes away just one thing today.
Be yourself.
That sounds a little cliche.
It does, but for language learners, it is actually profound. You're probably out there obsessing over prepositions. You're worrying if you should use at or in.
Yeah, the grammar anxiety is real.
But your friend doesn't care. They care about you. If your letter has grammar mistakes but sounds like your true voice, it is a successful letter.
But if it's grammatically perfect?
If it's grammatically perfect but sounds like a textbook, it is a failure as a letter to a friend.
Connection over perfection.
Always. Every time.
So, here is the mission for you this week. We are issuing a deep dive challenge.
Yes. We want you to pick one person. Just one.
Yeah.
An old roommate, a cousin you haven't seen in a while, maybe a teacher who changed your life.
And write them a letter, not an email. A physical letter. Use the structure we talked about. Break the ice. Ask them a question. Use a contraction.
Drop them a line.
Exactly. And notice how it feels. Notice the difference in your brain when you slow down to write by hand.
And just imagine their face when they open their mailbox. In a stack of bills and credit card offers and junk mail, they suddenly see your handwriting.
That is a real gift.
It is. You are giving them a physical artifact of your friendship.
And maybe, just maybe, it'll end up in a shoebox in an attic somewhere waiting to be rediscovered in 20 years.
And that is something a text message will never, ever do.
So go buy some stamps. Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.